That's right, all you boomers. You hold your ground and don't step aside for the young people coming through. Because you know what? You earned your place too. Yeah, old people. Batteries Not Included, released in 1987 and is directed by Matthew Robbins, who is also behind such films like Dragon Slayer, Corvette Summer, The Legend of Billie Jean, and Off the Ground. And this film is starring Jessica Tandy, Hume Cronin, Frank McRae, Elizabeth Pena, Michael Carmine, Dennis Boutsikaris, and Tom Aldridge. And the reason why we're talking about Batteries Not Included today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from a big contributor and supporter of this channel, Jeff Fry. Thank you very much for this recommendation. A movie that I guess I always thought like this was Short Circuit or connected to the whole Short Circuit universe. Of course, that was before I watched Short Circuit for the first time a couple of weeks ago. But come to find out, it's its own story, it's its own show, and it's charming. It has a lot of great things about it, but we'll definitely get into it more here. Thank you very much, Jeff, for the recommendation. If anyone else out there also wants to be like Jeff and help support me and contribute to this channel, you can select the QR code that is in the bottom left corner of your screen right now. Send over your donation of $5 or more with your movie recommendation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, and give you a little shout out just like what I did with Jeff Fry here. Frank and Faye Riley are an elderly couple who manage an apartment building and cafe in the East Village that is the only building left standing, as everything else in this area is being torn down so that rich people can build skyscrapers and make money. But Frank and Faye are down on their luck because they are getting pressure from the big suits to sell the building and get out of there as soon as possible. Thankfully, a couple of unexpected visitors come crashing into the building and start fixing everything on the inside to where the building looks more appealing and they start getting customers. But you see, the big suits don't like that because they want this building torn down like all the other buildings, and they want this old couple out of there to make way for them to build up their stuff and make money by building other things. And it's like, old people, get out of here. The new people are here. The young people are to take over. So, old people, you don't have a place anymore here. Get out. Ah! As this movie started, I really thought that this was based on some stage play, or it could be easily converted into a stage play, because the setting here looks very artistic and it looks very stagey. All of the hallways with all the stairs and the doors, then when we get to the apartment complexes, it looks like an apartment staged show like I've seen in live theaters so many times before. And I was this close to start looking up, like, was this converted into a stage play or like a black box theater show or anything? Because I had no idea what this movie was about at all starting it. So I thought that this was going to be like a Tennessee Williams or an August Wilson naturalistic or realistic theatrical show where it's about this small little community in this building and they all talking about their troubles, you see, and then there's going to be some type of tragedy. Someone's going to die or someone's going to get trapped under rubble and then die, and then we're going to have a sad monologue or epilogue at the end where people are just going to stand around and something is going to happen and we're all going to remember whoever the person was that died in the sky, and then the show is going to end and you're all going to leave the theater depressed. I don't know why I rambled on that for like the last minute or 2 minutes here, because none of that happens as this CGI little alien creature and apparently its mate come down and they start fixing all of this stuff, and then they start reproducing and they have little baby flying saucer robot things. And at that moment I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is not converted into a show, as this has CGI and visual effects that for 1987 these actually look very impressive. Jeff Fry has recommended other 80s films that has used special effects and CGI for the technology that they had at the time, like The Last Stuff Fighter. And my god, the CGI in there, it's fine for what it was in the 80s, okay? But looking at it here in a 2025 lens, that CGI is terrible. It is boxy as hell. But when we look at the CGI surrounding these flying saucers in this movie, it's actually pretty impressive. Are there wider shots that look a little fake and a little green screeny. Yeah, sure, but for the most part, especially when there's at least one UFO in the building and it's flying around the apartment, it's plugging itself in, that all looks pretty realistic, and it looks pretty damn good for 1987. And they are these cute, adorable little flying saucers that apparently can reproduce, even though they are mechanical and machinery. I think he opens it up at one point and there's electricity wires in there, or maybe there's like small people working on the inside. I couldn't quite remember or figure out exactly what was going on, but they are cute, adorable little aliens here that are coming to fix everything, and in exchange they are getting all of the electricity and power from the building to help fuel themselves and help fuel their young little children that they, again, reproduce. And I think this is a great relationship between humans and AI and technology. It's especially cool that it's the older generation. Is this the boomers in the 1980s who are this age? Probably not. It's the generation before. I lost track of all the generations. Everyone's making fun of each other, whatever. But for 1987, this is the older generation. This is the last generation here, probably going to be dying out in the next couple of years at this time. And they're the ones being inundated with all of this new technology from these flying saucer alien things. And I think that's really cool. It's something that we're dealing with now, where the older generation here in 2025 is being inundated with all this new artificial intelligence and all this new technology that we're getting. Every generation experiences this when they get to new technology and new things coming out, but the older generation is like, well, things were working just fine before. Why are we doing new things here? It's hard for me to learn and to accept new things, and but to see a beautiful synergy between the two in this movie, I think is very hopeful, especially for, older generations nowadays, but for any generation that eventually becomes the old generation. This is a nice little movie to watch and make you feel hopeful for the next, 30 to 40 years, however long you got left on this earth. And it also helps that we have some pretty nice and beautiful character arcs here from the human characters that we are able to connect to. Faye is the elderly woman who you can definitely tell has some type of dementia or Alzheimer's. She has trouble remembering things, and when she looks at certain people who come into her apartment building, she sees her son, or she sees someone who's not them, but someone that she's recollecting would come around the apartment complex when she was younger. And that's a hard thing to see as an audience member, someone go through that. But here's Faye, and she has a beautiful outlook on life, and she's happy. She seems happy. She seems optimistic. She seems positive, and she's the first one to really accept these flying saucer alien things. And I think it's a beautiful connection. I think it's a beautiful relationship. Now, the rest of the story here feels a little simplified, and we go to the extreme. We go to setting 11 pretty quickly when we get to the end and they're planning on burning down the building. It's a nice story that it has a nice tiny little bow attached to it by the end. Just a nice happy-go-lucky story here that I feel there's a version of this script out there that goes more in depth and challenges the audience a little bit more in thinking of what's going on. But it really doesn't answer any questions like where these aliens come from, why they chose here, why they're doing this. They're just here, and they do the things that they do, and we just go along and accept that. Batteries Not Included, though, I feel is a nice, lovable time. A little simplified in places, and definitely feels like this is a stage show. In particular, whenever the aliens are not in there, and we're just seeing the humans walking around this building, you can definitely see the stage setup and the setting and the lighting. It looks like it's a stage production. I'm going to give Batteries Not Included 3 out of 5 Blu-rays.
Not exactly what I had in mind, but not bad.
So guys, if you've seen Batteries Not Included, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.